Hi, everybody. Let's remind ourselves of what we did on Monday and Tuesday this week, and then I'll tell you where we're headed on Wednesday, which is today. Monday, we are working on the Constitutional Convention of 1787. That Articles of Confederation government's just not working. It's too weak. The government doesn't have enough power to solve its own problems. Shays' Rebellion is kind of the last big proof of that in many people's minds. So people meet in Philadelphia, summer of 1787, to form a more perfect union. And that's what we were looking at on Tuesday when we Zoomed. We put together a chart that shows our new Constitution that creates a brand new federal government. That means the United States level government, the Washington, D.C. government today. And that government is still divided up into different parts because we're still suspicious of a government with too much power. So we have a legislative branch, the Congress, the executive branch headed by the president, and the judicial branch, which is the court system. The Supreme Court is our highest of all of our courts in America. And so yesterday we Zoomed about that. You completed a chart with some notes, and that chart is really important for you on Friday when you do your quiz on the federal government. Now, today, we're going to take that federal government thing one step further, where we are going to collect some pictures of important landmarks in Washington, D.C. Some of them are pictures of the buildings that the Congress or the President or the Supreme Court meet in. Some of them are artwork in the D.C. area. Some are other important government buildings. So let me show you what we have in mind here uh, for your uh, for your work for today. Yeah, we can't really take a field trip to Washington, D.C. That's just not what we can do right now. But here are at least some things that you are looking for when you do your when you do your pictures. This is a picture of the plan of the city of Washington, D.C., and this is the United States Capitol building. This is the National Mall that goes the whole way down to today, what is the Lincoln Memorial, or that's the Washington Monument now. This ground is all filled in, and that's where the Lincoln Memorial is. And here's the White House. The man who planned the city of Washington, D.C., planned it as a big grid with diagonals going across. Diagonal streets have names of states, and Pennsylvania Avenue is the one that runs from the White House to the Capitol, connects the Congress and the president. What you're going to be doing is looking for some other pictures, some buildings like the Capitol building. It has two front sides. There's an east front and a west front. You are going to look for a painting that's inside the Capitol dome called the Apotheosis of George Washington, and a number of other places, the White House and the Supreme Court building and some other things. What I expect you to do is find a picture using your favorite search engine, copy it, paste it into this document. When you open that document, let me find one that shows, well, here's one a student did on a previous occasion. We'll show you what a finished product of this might look like. So that's the page that I started everybody out with. But you can see the student has a picture of the east front of the Capitol and the west front, where presidential inaugurations are held. The apotheosis of George Washington is a painting up in the ceiling of the dome. And we have different views of the White House, the north front, the south front, Supreme Court, the Library of Congress reading room, which I think is one of the most beautiful rooms in all of Washington, D.C., and most people don't really know it exists. The Washington Monument, Lincoln Memorial, World War II Memorial, the National Mall that connects the Capitol building past a lot of the Smithsonian buildings and some of the other government buildings. This is a fairly new picture because they've just done a big remodeling to really shape up the grass there and make it look a lot better. Maybe so you've been to the Air and Space Museum, the National Archives building, picture of a protest. Uh, I'd like you to find a picture of the Beast, the presidential limo, the limo that the president rides around in. It's pretty much a tank disguised to look like a car. And Air Force One, which is the president's airplane that the president flies in going from place to place. All right, so that's the kind of thing you're doing today. Just use your favorite search engine, find a picture of the things I'm asking you to do, and you want to copy those, put them in the painting. You don't need to use sources today. Usually I tell you for your LEQs especially, don't copy and paste. Well, today you can copy and paste. So you're going to look for some landmarks in Washington, D.C. Now, don't forget, you also can be reading your trade book. Uh, if you haven't picked it up from the office yet, this would be a good time to do it soon. Come into the school office, get your copy of Fever 1793, which will teach us a lot about culture in the early 1800s, and late 1700s and early 1800s. And don't forget to Zoom with me on Thursday, 12 noon, on our distance learning activities. You will see that we have the link to Zoom on there. And one other thing, real quick, Friday is a half day of school. So the kids who come to the building are only half a day, so you just have a short lesson as well. You're going to complete a quiz to show me that you've learned some things this week about our United States government, and you can spend some time with your trade book and completing those reading quizzes. First 5 are due by the end of this week. And if you're thinking, wait, what do you mean reading quizzes, Mr. Clark? Well, what's that all about? Well, let me go back to our Canvas homepage and show you. So if you go to the column that says class resources for everyone all semester, go down under the picture that says have a super Clarky day, you will see the trade book link to Fever 1793. When you open that up, you will see a trade book intro. For those of you who missed the Zoom meeting the other day on last Thursday, you can see what we're doing with our trade books by watching that. Beaver read alouds from YouTube are on this link. And then as you read the different chapters, you'll see there are quizzes there that you are to answer the questions. You have to get 8 out of 10 right to pass. Once you do that, you're able to move on to the next quiz. Now, I will tell you, it is much easier to pass these quizzes if you read the book. So be careful about doing that. Make sure you read it, because really the quizzes are, okay, you get a grade for completing them, but the real issue are these housing, food, clothing culture, family culture. Those things are what you really get your grade for. And you really can't do well on those if you haven't read the book. And besides, it's a good story. I think you'll enjoy it. All right, that's all for now. Have a good day.